going on, everybody? Welcome into the Jets Report. My name is Patrick Siepman. Now, coming up on today's show, with training camp about a week and a half in, I do want to go over some winners and some losers from training camp. But I will say, biggest winner by far, that guy right there, Aaron Glenn, setting the culture in New York. Physical practices, real football is back. So we'll dive into some players here in a second. But we're already looking towards week one. I cannot wait for this football game. Probably the most excited I've been for a week one game in a very long time. And it's the Jets taking on the Steelers, and we're going to start our sub battle right now at 0 subscribers. Now, our Steelers Talk channel has over 80,000 subs here on YouTube. Obviously, us only having just under 8,000. We got a ways to go, but if you guys could hit that subscribe button today and help us win the week one sub battle versus Steelers Talk, just hit that subscribe button. It is free, easy way to help us out, and plus you'll just get more Jets content on your YouTube page. All right, biggest winner from Jets training camp. Now, this is in no particular order, but I do want to highlight Armand Membou here because we haven't really talked about him too much on the channel. That's kind of on me. 7th overall pick. Should be talking about him more, but it was actually one of his teammates, Quinnen Williams, was talking about Membou. He was chopping it up with Kay Adams after practice earlier on this week, saying he's one of the strongest people on the team. He is light years ahead of a lot of rookie offensive linemen. So getting praise like that from one of the best defensive linemen in the league is obviously huge because you can get reports, from beat reporters saying he looks good. I think it, holds a lot more weight when a player that is lining up across from him is showing that guy all types of love. And if he has a good year, same with Fashanu, this Jets offensive line could be incredibly dangerous. Now, I will say his welcome to the NFL moment unfortunately comes week one for a guy Armand Membou. Having the lineup against TJ Watt over and over again during that week one matchup, it is going to be a tough test. But could you imagine what we would be saying about Membou if he holds TJ Watt sackless in the first week? We're talking about this guy being one of the better right tackles in the National Football League. So everything looks good so far. We'll have a great feel on how good this guy can be week one going against TJ Watt. And we're going to go to another rookie here, tight end Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor, one of my favorite players in this year's draft. I felt like he could have been a first-round pick with how stacked this tight end draft class was. And, he has looked like a veteran during training camp so far. All the reports are saying that this guy looks legit. He'll be the tight end one. They really have no issues with, giving a rookie that big of a responsibility. Because we have also seen over the past couple of years, these rookie tight ends have came out and they've been dominant in year one. Like, even just look at a guy like Brock Bowers this past year. He's pretty much already the undisputed best tight end in the league. Now, will Mason Taylor replicate that? Most likely not, but I could see him having a massive, massive year one for the New York Jets. And actually, his running mate, Garrett Wilson, was talking about him, saying this. He's a dog. He's got great hands. He finds a way to be open when he needs to be. For a position like that, he's as good as I've seen in terms of making plays. And I do feel like Mason Taylor's just got good instincts when playing the game of football, and I got high expectations for him. Like, I'm not really viewing him as a second-round, rookie tight end. I'm looking at this guy as, like, a potential breakout candidate for this Jets offense because they're going to need him as well. There's a huge drop-off from the first receiving option to the second receiving option, and if he can step up, make some plays for this team, he could be the difference in a lot of wins and losses for this Jets unit heading into the season. So nothing but love for Mason Taylor here starting off, and we're going to keep it with this rookie class with training camp winner number 3. What about a little Malachi Moore? Aaron Glenn's been raving about this guy. Obviously the Jets, they were high on him in the draft. Took him in the 4th round. He was on a 30 visit, and, clearly they had high hopes for him. And Aaron Glenn saying Malachi Moore is going to be a hell of a player in this league. He's going to do some really good things for us. I don't think Glenn is going to shy away from playing the rookies early. Even a guy like A.Z. Thomas in the secondary. Would I be shocked if he ends up playing more than Brandon Stevens? No. And would I be shocked if Malachi Moore ends up playing more than Tony Adams? Absolutely not. So I don't know if it would be week one Moore ends up starting next to Andre Sisco, but I do think it would be probably sometime by October. And it very well could be week one. Like, who knows? If he has a good preseason, Glenn's obviously trying to win football games. He doesn't care what your reputation is, who you are, where you were drafted. Whoever the better football player is, he will put them out there on the football field. So Moore, he's got versatility, can hop down, play some box linebacker for you. You can really line him up anywhere in the nickel, free safety, strong safety, whatever it may be. So having that versatility is obviously huge with these, sick defensive minds the Jets have in Glenn and Wilkes. So all love to Malachi Moore, and we're gonna keep it on, or we're gonna kick back to offense here with running back Braylon Allen. Braylon Allen, if you just look at the raw numbers this past season, they're not going to blow you away. Only ran for 3.6 yards per carry, but he looks freaky, man. And the explosiveness in his game has definitely been the biggest difference maker from year one to year two for Braylon Allen. Because obviously we know he is a thumper. He falls forward, physical running back. But can he have that breakaway speed? We started to see it a little bit at training camp, so we'll see if it translates to the regular season for the Jets. But Rich Cimini also had him as one of his standouts here early, saying one of the early standouts in camp is second-year running back Braylon Allen, who had another good day. He's 240 pounds of granite, and he worked on his explosiveness in the offseason. The coaches love his unselfish attitude and his willingness to play special teams. And, I thought it was pretty funny. We shared that Braylon Allen quote earlier. He was like, oh, they could put me at fullback. They could put me at linebacker. I could play special teams. I'm a football player, not just a running back. So I love that mentality. And he truly is just like an Aaron Glenn style of running back. And I'm sure Glenn and Engstrad are looking at a guy like David Montgomery and saying, why can't Braylon Allen be that? Both physical backs, both have sneaky explosiveness. And I think he's overall just going to have a monster year for this team. And I think it's going to be closer than people think on who has the most yards at the running back position. Breece, Braylon. Would not be shocked if Braylon ends up going for 1,000 yards and maybe Breece is at 700. But I'll be very curious to see. And we'll get a good look at that week one, how they divvy up the running back reps. Still assuming it'll be Breece Hall rolling out there for the first drive of the season. But honestly, who knows? What if Glenn just has more faith in a guy like Braylon over Breece? I'll have to wait and see how that plays out week one. But I just give you guys 4 winners. You guys just need to give me one down below in the comment section. Who's your biggest winner so far from Jets training camp? For me, I would probably have to go. I'm going to go Mason Taylor on this. I think because obviously we had high expectations for him, but he just has looked the part so far. So you guys let me know. Who is your biggest winner from Jets training camp? Now we'll dive into some losers here in a second. Now, again, these guys aren't really true losers. It's just they have some guys behind them that are playing better. And the first one we're going to talk about is a guy that could potentially get cut. Malachi Corley, wide receiver, 3rd-round pick last year. Jets traded up for him. That regime had high hopes for him. But apparently the coaching staff after the Jets drafted him were a little weary just because of his route tree. He didn't run a whole lot of routes at Western Kentucky. He was kind of just a one-trick pony. So I could really see him getting cut, and I think he will because I think the Jets are going to keep 6 wide receivers. Garrett Wilson, Lazard, Reynolds, Tyler Johnson, Arian Smith. Those are the 5 locks. Those guarantee all 5 of those guys will make the team over Corley. Competition happens. Malachi Corley or a guy like Xavier Gibson. Knowing Aaron Glenn and knowing what Xavier Gibson's made of, a UDFA who kind of got it out the mud, that's a more Aaron Glenn type of player than a guy like Malachi Corley. Doesn't really seem like he's got his head, It just seems like Corley's got some other stuff going on. Don't really want to speculate too much, but I think he's going to end up getting cut from this team. And again, it really has nothing to do with him. I just think there are better wide receivers that, especially in Aaron Glenn's eyes, that will end up playing a bigger role than most of us think. But second loser here, we're going to go Jeremy Ruckert. And this is, again, mainly just giving more praise to Mason Taylor, even a guy like Stone Smart, who had a couple of flash plays at practice. But also Jeremy Ruckert apparently had a bad day of practice recently. He had some penalty issues. So it's just tough at that tight end position for the Jets where, you spend a 2nd-round pick on a guy like Taylor. You brought in Stone Smart. I just think he's going to have a tough time, seeing the field. And Cimini saying this on Ruckert, saying Glenn wasn't happy with the early portion of practice. It got a little sloppy with some penalties, including a false start on Jeremy Ruckert. Now, false start's going to happen. I'm not saying it's the end of the world for this guy, and this is why he is a loser. But, again, I think it's more praise to Mason Taylor and Stone Smart. And I think he's just going to have a tough time getting snaps. Because I'm assuming the Jets will run a decent amount of 2 tight end sets, but those 2 tight ends will probably be Stone Smart and Mason Taylor. Now, maybe if they view Ruckert as a way better blocking tight end than Stone Smart, which he has been so far in his NFL career, then maybe he'll end up getting more. But in terms of just pass catching and dynamic, route runners, definitely give the edge to Taylor and Smart. And loser number 3 here, we're going to go Tony Adams. We really haven't heard much from him at Jets training camp so far. Not really too sure if he's making any plays whatsoever, but I just think this is more about a guy like Malachi Moore and Andre Cisco being the future at the safety position for this football team. Like, obviously, you spent money on Cisco this year in free agency. This coaching staff is very high on him. He has to have a big year. Like, if Cisco doesn't work out, this safety room will be the worst in the National Football League. But I just think a guy like Malachi Moore fits more with Cisco, where Cisco, that ball hawk kind of gambling style of safety, where Moore is just that solid, versatile. He's going to be great in the run support. He's just going to be able to guard tight ends at a decently high level right away. So I think Moore, another one of the biggest winners, and that kind of makes Tony Adams a loser here at Jets training camp. But I'll ask you guys this. Who is your biggest loser from Jets training camp so far? I got to go Malachi Corley. And your third-round pick the previous season, and you're most likely going to get cut. But you guys let me know. Who's your biggest loser at Jets training camp? And hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'll keep you guys posted with everything you need to know around your favorite football team. So hit that subscribe button today. See you guys next time. Go Jets.